Hey, Dan. Hello there, welcome back to Simon's Shed. It's been a while. Let's go and open up and see what we can see. So yeah, it's been quite some time since I've been in here. I have been doing some bits that I will show you in this video, but progress has definitely slowed, so I thought I'd come back into the shed and see if everything's still okay and show you what I have been up to. So let's take a quick tour around, remind ourselves and myself where I've got to. So everything looks as I left it over at Arley. The river hasn't drained away, which is good. I've still not stuck these rails on to Victoria Bridge yet, so that's one thing I can do. And this is all holding up well. I think what I'm going to do is try and run that train that's stopped at Arley. So yeah, I was putting some allotments in over here. I've built a building for here, which I will go into in a lot more detail. And another thing I want to do at some point is the turntable, which is on the bottom of that pile of boxes over there at the moment. So still a lot to do. Let's see if we can get back into it by running a train. There we go. Oh no, this isn't going to work. Disaster averted. Just let me check whether all the points are set in the right direction. That one's not. Okay. But yeah, that's good. It just took off straight away. The track's not been cleaned for months. Nothing's been run for months. So that's promising. So that's good. It is great that this is a hobby that you can just park for quite a few months and just walk back in. The track needs a clean, but yeah, everything's survived really well. Everything's intact. The train is going to stop at some point there, as I say. The track needs a clean, but I am going to just play trains for a bit, and then while I do that, you take a look at the new building I've built. And the building is the Kidderminster diesel depot, and this is obviously the real thing. My modelling's not that good, but as you can see, it's a nice simple shape. The only tricky bit is, I guess, the drain pipes on the side. But yeah, just a big sort of corrugated metal building, steel frame. So that's what we're aiming for, and this is the first step, cutting out the front and the back. I've done sort of double thickness, and it's 1mm grey board, my usual method. And this photo was actually taken on the 8th of December, so the building was actually finished a while ago, and this has been sort of half filmed for a long time. So I came up with the best match I could for the colour, using a sort of corrugated metal texture that I found, and adjusted the colour myself. Printed some sheets of that out and stuck the front and the back on, and you can see the doors are cut out there, and sort of wrapped that around the front and the back. Try and keep it nice and neat. And then that's black is for the drain pipes. So you can see I stuck a piece just poking out on the edge. A nice little trick to try and get the drain pipes represented in this kind of building. And then the sides, I cut out one sort of backing piece of grey board, and then the different sections where the drain pipes are, to allow me to represent the drain pipes. And I use my magnetic squares to hold everything together while the sections were drying. And that's the front and the two sides on. Put a couple of strengtheners inside to keep everything nice and square. And then started on the roof and sort of marked out there's a lot of roof lights in the top. You can see, you can probably guess it took quite a while to mark all those out and to cut them, and to sort of fold the corrugated cover material around those. And I had numerous goes at printing out a Kidderminster diesel depot sign, just trying to get the right sort of size for that. Now underneath the roof I just stuck some thin clear, I think it was overhead transparency film, and just stuck that on the back and glued the roof down. So it's a little bit rough around the edges, but pleased with how it turned out overall. And that's another significant building ready to go on the layout. And here is the diesel depot, so that will go somewhere probably around here, just to give enough, maybe like there. I'm going to have to put a bit more ground in here to hold it on, just to give enough room for some roads in there. But yeah, that should be good. Pleased with how that turned out, and it's not too sort of overpowering. And that leads me on to obviously the next thing, which is the turntable. So a long time ago now I bought this Bachmann N-scale motorised turntable because A, it was on offer, and B, it's already motorised, and it's largely been sitting in the box waiting for me to do something with it. So I've taken the Pico one out for now, and put this one in and just placed it on and drawn around it, so just working out where everything's going to go. So I don't know if you can see the lines, but I'm going to have to cut out that and somehow sit this down at the right level, because it's obviously up too high at the moment to meet the rest of the track, and make it look more realistic. Now I know the Pico one looks a lot better than this one from the starting point, but what I'm going to do is have this connecting up to this road, and there'll be these two coming off which go into the first and second entrance into the diesel depot, and from what I can see there's another road out which just sort of goes along here, so it's not connected to the turntable, and you just access it from the back. There's a sort of point at the back. That's what it looks like to me, so that's probably what I'll do. And then there's a sort of head shunt type thing here, so that'll be off, I guess this one, and all the others will be removed or covered up. So this will be level and this surface will be covered up, apart from these three. This I'm either going to weather it, or it's really easy to unclip, so I could scratch build anything. Another little hut that looks, because there are some sort of huts like this around that area on the Severn Valley. Scratch build something and put it over the top eventually. And we've got some handrails to stick on to make it look a bit better. I'm going to cover this platform and put some bits and bobs on there to sort of make it look a bit more like the one that's actually there at the Kidderminster Severn Valley station. It's got some sort of air tanks here. I think they're sort of compressed air tanks at the side, so I could do something like that. But stage one is to cut the hole and get the track work done, and yeah, get it in place. Just briefly then, because I may well do a full review video on the Bachmann motorised turntable. You can use this on DCC or DC. I've not got a chip to try it in DCC mode yet. You need an 8-pin DCC chip that you plug in there. But looking at it, obviously my track is DCC, and the only way I can power the turntable is DC. But there's nothing in the instructions that says you can't do, you can't sort of mix those together. So they're essentially two separate things. So I've got the movement of the turntable rigged up the way they tell you to do the DC setup, which essentially is just plugging it into a old DC controller, and you can adjust the speed that it goes around with that, and then you move this to control the turntable, which works really well. And the sort of indexing, so where it locks into the track, seems really good. It's obviously very fast, and one of the reasons I am thinking of getting it getting a DCC chip for it is if you slow it down to be realistic. It's working now, but if you really slow it down, it does actually get stuck. So hopefully DCC will be a bit better in terms of getting it to move slower. But then, since the track power is separate, I've just plugged in, you have to use 1, 2, 3, track 4 is like a special track that's wired in. So your power in terms of the track goes into track 4, and that goes off to my Z21. So that should all work, and I should be able to give it a test. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, I think, because the video is getting long enough, and I haven't put out a video for so long. I think I just need to do a quick update on this and then get this uploaded, because everyone will be wondering where I am. So I have cut out the hole, as you can see, and just screwed a piece of wood underneath, and then built it up to the right height with further bits of plywood to bring that level with that. And it's been a while, but it's been a few days, so the chip, the DCC chip, has now arrived, and it is now inside there. You just literally, let's show you, remove the blanking plate and just plug it into there. You need a 8-pin with one of these sort of tether, I forget what they call them, a sort of tethered one, a harness, wiring harness possibly. So that goes in there. I will put that on after, because I can't do it one-handed. But this track and this power is now linked into my main DCC bus wires underneath, and as you can see, it's plugged into track 4, and as you may have noticed, it's actually going round. And with DCC, you can see you can get it going a lot slower. It's going to move any second now. I promise you it is moving. There we go. So obviously it moves to the next one, and then it'll stop at the sort of indexing point. But yeah, that's, if you do get one of these, I definitely would recommend DCCing it. So yeah, I can now carry on with the rest of the track work. This is obviously meant to go into that point there, and get the turntable into position, and I can then do the roads off and place the diesel depot down and get this area done. So let's get this edited and out on YouTube, and then I'll carry on with the track work. And thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.